Welcome back everyone. In this lecture, we will learn about pseudo color image processing and the various methods of achieving pseudo color image processing. And then we'll learn some basics of full color image processing. We'll just touch upon the topic. We'll not get into details of full color image processing. There are two types of color image processing. Namely, first one is the pseudo color image processing, in which we basically assign colors to gray values based on a specific criteria. And grayscale images to be processed may be a single image or multiple images, such as multispectral images. Okay, we'll come to this topic later, what we mean by this, what we mean by multispectral images and their coloring process. And the second type is full color image processing. So basically here the process to manipulate real color images such as color photographs. Let us first understand what do we mean by pseudo color image processing. Pseudo color, the term pseudo means false. Okay, here we are just replacing a grayscale with some color. So in some case there is no color concept for a grayscale image, but we can assign false color to an image. So depending on the level of grayscale, like from 0 to 50, 50 to 100, whatever grayscale we decide, we will apply a particular color to that particular range. So we are recoloring the image, and the coloring is not true color. It's basically false color based on our interpretation or our liking. So that's why we call it as pseudo color image processing. And why we need to do this? Why we need to assign colors to a grayscale image? That is because humans can identify only a few shades of gray, like around 40 in any given illumination. But humans can identify millions of shades of colors because of the human eye structure. We can distinguish the colors better. So that is the answer. Human can distinguish different colors better than different shades of gray. And here is the example for that. So this is the black and white image of a soldier, and look at the objects that you can see here. You can see his cap, the dress, his face, the hair, and the background. But if you recolor it, you can see the shades within the cap or his dress. The folds are more visible here, and the background clouds, multiple layers, or the pattern you can see, and even the field. So this is advantages. This is the advantage of going for the pseudo color image processing. Now let us understand how to perform this pseudo color image processing with a simple technique called intensity slicing or density slicing. So here the formula is g of xy is equal to color 1 C1 if f of xy is less than or equal to some threshold t. Okay, C1 is the color number 1, and it will be C2 if f of xy is greater than some threshold. Okay, very simple. So if the intensity level, for example, is greater than 120, we'll color it using some color. And if it is below that, we'll use a different color, two colors in this example. So this is how it looks if you use a 3D surface. So this is the image axis, x and y axis, x-axis and y-axis. And this is the intensity along the z-axis. So we decide a threshold. Okay, so this is the slicing plane. If the pixel value at any location crosses that threshold, then we'll use C2. If it is less than that threshold, we'll use C1. Very simple example. So how it works out is we have the axis x and y. So we have the level L minus 1, intensity, and the color. Okay, so colors we are using are C1 and C2, only two colors we are using. So we have a threshold, And if the intensity is less than that threshold, we'll use C1. If it is more than that threshold, we'll use C2. So this is how it works. Here is an example for intensity slicing. So this is an X-ray image of a weld with cracks and porosities. So these bright white spots running horizontally are the cracks in a weld. So basically what happens is if you pass the X-rays through a welded joint, uh, the X-rays passing through the cracks like this will saturate the sensors at the other end. So they will appear as bright spots. So they will have the pixel values of 255. Now, if there was a human operator who was inspecting this, there could be some error. But if you recolor it using this logic here, we are assigning yellow color to the intensity level of 255, and we are making every other pixel as blue. If the value is not equal to 255, we'll make it as blue. So this is how it looks. Now, in this second image, you can clearly see where are the cracks and the porosities. So the intensity slicing reduces the human operator error. So this is the advantage of going for pseudo color image processing. So this is the first case. And this is the second case in which we go for multi-level intensity slicing. So instead of using two colors, we'll go for n number of colors or k number of colors in this example. So J of x5, which is output image, is equal to C of k for L of ik is less than or equal to f of xy less than or equal to lk, where ck is the color number of k, number of colors that we are having, and lk is the threshold level of k. So this is how it looks like. We have intensity versus color map. Now we'll choose color 1 for intensity level from 0 to I1, and we'll use C2, color 2 between the levels L1 and L2. For example, 0 to L1 could be the intensity values from 0 to 10, 11 to 20, 21 to 30. We'll use C3 and so on. So we can use as many colors as we want. And for a grayscale, for a 256 level image, we can have 256 colors defined. We cannot go uh, we cannot have more number of colors for this 256 levels in this multi-level intensity slicing. So here is the example for multi-level intensity slicing. So this is a grayscale image of a grayscale X-ray image of a picker thyroid phantom, and you cannot see more details in this image. It's quite vague actually. Now, if you recolor it using 8 colors, you can get this kind of image, and it's quite vibrant, and you can see or you can identify more area or objects inside this color image, and it will help a doctor in correct diagnosis. So this is the advantage of multi-level intensity slicing. Here is another example for multi-level intensity slicing. So this image shows the world monthly average rainfall. Okay, and if you assign unique color for each intensity level, then we get this we if we use this color map 0 to 20, we use this color map, this will be the result. This is the color coded image, and this gives more information than this image, more detailed, and we can see where we are getting more rainfall and where we are getting less rainfall. And if you zoom into the South America region, you can see uh, this orange looking area gets more rainfall, around 20 inches per year. And as you move away, you can see the green area is around 10-inch rainfall. So this is the advantage of going with the multi-intensity slicing. Let's look at some other types of transformations that are more general and thus are capable of achieving a wider range of pseudo-color enhancement results than the simple slicing techniques that we discussed in the previous slides. An approach that is particularly attractive is shown in the figure here. Basically, we are assigning colors to gray levels based on specific mapping functions. The three results are then fed separately to red, green, and blue channels of color television monitor. This method produces a composite image whose color content is modulated by the nature of the transformation. Next type of method used to obtain pseudo-color image processing or pseudo-coloring process is to use the pseudo-color coding. So we use this in case where there are many monochrome images, such as ones coming from uh, satellites. You get a image in X-ray, in a UV, in near IR, in RGB band. So we can combine them in multiple ways to get the desired output. So in this block diagram, as you can see, there are k number of input images, monochrome input images, f1 of xy to fk of xy. We apply the required transformation and then do additional processing to obtain RGB equivalents. So we can combine them uh, as we want to obtain an image which highlights the thing which we need to highlight. Okay, we'll see that with an example in the next slide. Here is an example of pseudo color coding. So uh, this is the photograph of Washington DC area with a river flowing in the middle here. And all these four pics are of same area, but taken using different radiation. Like this one is with visible blue at wavelength of 0.45 to 0.25 micrometer, and the second one is visible green 0.52 to 0.6 micrometer, and the third one is visible red 0.63 to 0.69 micrometer. And the fourth one is not visible to human eye. It is a near infrared with wavelength of 0.76 to zero point 0.9 micrometer. And note that humans can only see these visible bands, but cameras can see different radiations apart from what we humans can see. So this is near infrared. Now, if you combine this 1, 2, and 3, we get the full color image like this one. And here you can identify the land area, the greenery, the river flowing through in the middle. But it won't give you much of the details. Now, if you manipulate the order of this RGB image, full color RGB image, and replace this blue component here, the third component, with the near infrared. Okay, so we are replacing the red with the near infrared. Okay, so this band we have changed, and look at the difference here. You can clearly identify the biomass and the shoreline mapping with this setup with all the other features visible. So whichever component you want to highlight, you can just replace it. It can be ultraviolet. If you have taken the ultraviolet imagery, just you can replace with one of the colors and see the difference. It will highlight the uh, features which is relevant to that particular radiation. So this is about a pseudo color coding. Another example of pseudo color coding. Here is the pseudo color rendition of Jupiter moon Io. And here the yellow areas are older sulfur deposits, and red areas, okay, and you have the zoomed in version here, are material ejected from the active volcanoes. So most of the outer space imagery that you see are basically pseudo color coded images. Let's just take a look at basics of full color image processing. We can do the full color image processing using two methods. First one is per color component processing, where we process each color component separately. Like we process the red component, green component, and the blue component separately and then merge them to get the full color image, process full color image. Or we can do vector processing where we can treat each pixel as a vector to be processed. Like at particular pixel, we'll take the red, green and blue component values and then process them. So these are the two methods. Example of per color component processing uh, is smoothing an image by smoothing each RGB component separately, as I mentioned. So this is a grayscale image and this is the RGB color image. Basically RGB means you have three grayscale images back to back. They are stacked together, each image representing a particular hue, RGB. Okay, so this is how the RGB full color image looks like. And so in the first method, we process R component, green component and the blue component separately. And in the second method, we take it as a vector of uh, 3 pixels of red, green and blue and then process and move to the next pixel. So this is the thing with full color image processing. So when we separate the components, this is how they look. So we have a full color image and you can use the CMYK components and you can see CMY and K black and RGB component. When you combine these three, you get a full color looking image. And then you can go for the HSI components, H, S and I. And the advantage with the HSI component, HSI processing is that we won't touch upon hue or saturation. We try to manipulate the intensity, and that will give us the desired results. If you go for RGB and CMY components, you need to process each component separately. That will be time consuming and resource consuming. But with HSI components, just process on the I component and leave other things as it is, and that will give a better results or similar result to that of the remaining two techniques. So far we have looked at pseudo color image processing and some basics of full color image processing. So with this we come to the end of color image processing. See you at the next lecture. Thank you.